Hi, my name is Kristin Kaufman. Welcome. So happy that you've joined us today. For those of you whom I've not met, I'm actually in the business of helping people, whether they be corporate leaders, corporate executives, small business owners, and in fact, even entrepreneurs, become their most effective and their most powerful self. My company Alignment is all about helping people become aligned, because I do believe that when we become aligned, whether it be as an individual, as a team, a group, or as an organization, we are at our most powerful. So I come here every couple of days to share tips, observations, and perspectives that I think will help us all become the most effective leaders that we can become. Today, I actually wanted to continue on a topic that I brought up a couple of days ago about setting boundaries. Because I don't know about you, but since COVID happened, it's been kind of a blurry line. You know, we are working out of our home, we work on Zoom, we work on the phone. There's really not a hard Chinese wall, so to speak, between our personal lives and our corporate lives or our business lives. So setting boundaries is really an art, and it's something that we have to be better at, especially given that we don't have any artificial boundaries already in place, like going to the office or going to a brick and mortar facility. So we talked a little bit about setting boundaries a couple of days ago, and today I wanted to talk about the art of saying no. Because believe it or not, it's hard for a lot of us to say no. And my clients in particular, especially those that are overachievers, type A personalities, they want to be all things to all people. So saying no and setting a boundary around what they will do and what they won't do has been somewhat of a challenge. So I wanted to introduce you to a book, number one, and then I wanted to walk through 5 sample ways that you can actually say no without upsetting people or perhaps being perceived as rigid or inflexible. So the first thing I want to share with you all is the book that I have loved, and many of my clients do as well, called The Power of the Positive No, written by William Ury. If you've not picked up this book, this is one of those that would be great to have on your bookshelf, because it gives you a lot of specific, tangible, and tactical ways to say no and still get to the yes that you perhaps need or want to get to. So that's the first thing. Make a note of this book, order it on Amazon, put it in your credenza, have it on your desk, because if you don't need it, somebody probably on your team will, and it's a wonderful resource to have. So with that, I wanted to give you a couple of sample phrases that if you're having a hard time saying no or pushing back on someone a little bit, you don't want to be perceived as not wanting to extend a helping hand, you want to be perceived as a team player, but yet you just are out of bandwidth. Here are a couple of examples of how you can actually say no. The first thing is, you can actually say, that doesn't really work for me. However, what would work for me is X. So what working for you could be the time, it could be the deadline, it could be what they want you to do, and you don't want to do all of it, but you can do a part of it. So the way I call it the semicolon. That doesn't really work for me. However, semicolon, comma, this is what will work for me. And what that does is it extends the olive branch. You're still setting a boundary. You're saying what you can't do, but you're not just, it's not a binary no. It's a no and a however, this is what I can do. And it's sort of amazing what that bridge will build. If you give them something, you may not be able to give them everything, but you can give them something. So that's the first tip. That does not work for me. Here's another option for you. That doesn't work for me, but we can look ahead on our calendars and I can find another day that might be better. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2. You might just need time to think about it. I mean, I know that I've had people ask me for something and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to say because I knew my bandwidth was really stretched. I knew what I had in front of me, but I didn't want to say no out of turn. I really wanted to think about it. So the second tip is you can say, Susie or John, could I have a couple of days to think about it and get back to you on how I might be able to help you? And what that does, it gives you space. It buys you time so that you can figure out what you might be able to offer them. So that's the second tip. Just bide some time. Don't give them a binary yes or no in the moment. Ask for a couple of days to think about it. Okay, the third tip. And this is one that honestly, I've had to use more recently than not. If somebody is asking you to do something that you definitely want to try to help them, but you don't want to set a precedent, so you're afraid to say yes because you're afraid it will set a precedent, you can just easily say, you know, Susie or John, I'd be more than happy to do that for you this time, but I don't want to imply that this is something I'll be able to do for you from now on. And you just set that boundary right then. And again, it's sort of wonderful how that works, because you're saying yes because you want to help, but you also are teeing up that they're going to have to find another alternative, or in some cases, they might just really pay attention to how you're doing it so that they can take the reins themselves. So that's the third tip. You know, I'll be happy to do it for you this time, but I just want to set the record that I don't think I'll be able to continue to do this for you going forward. So that's step number 3 on how to say yes, but also positioning yourself to say no coming forward. Okay, the last tip, and this is one that, you know, actually my mother and dad really were teaching me when I was growing up, because I was a horrible student relative to this answer. This is actually just saying no, just flat out saying no. You're not saying no, but, and you're not saying no, however, and you're not saying yes, and you're just saying no. And I will tell you, I've gotten better at it as I've gotten older. But for example, I have actually said no to many clients that have wanted to work with me because I'm not a good fit for them, or they're not a good fit for me. So I will just say, if they want me to do something with them, I'll say, you know, Susie or John, I have to say no this time. And I don't owe them an explanation, by the way. You don't owe an explanation. You don't have to explain why or why not. It's just no. And then you can say, however, I can make a recommendation, or however, I would like to refer you somewhere else, or however, you might want to check this website. You give them a way to possibly fill that void or fill whatever it is they need, but you're saying no because you're protecting that boundary around yourself. So those are my 4 tips. The first is, that won't work for me, however, this might, and that could be a date, it could be the deliverable, it could be the timing. This won't work for me, but this will. The second is, I'll be happy to do it for you this time, but I don't want to set a precedent that I can continue to do it for you. The third is, bide some time. You know, could I have a couple of days to think about it? And then the fourth is just no, just flat out no. So hopefully that gives you some food for thought. Again, you know, there are 1,000,001 ways to say no, and there are 1,000,001 ways to say yes, and the and is, of course, qualifying what you will and won't do going forward. This book is a wonderful resource for you to have on your library if this is something that you are also struggling with, as many of my clients are. So again, thank you so much for joining. My name is Kristin Kaufman. I come on here every couple of days to offer some tips and some thoughts, perspectives on how we can up our leadership game and to become the best and most aligned self that we can, so that we are most certainly at our most powerful and at our most effective. If this has been helpful to you, feel free to follow me on YouTube. Certainly comment below. I would love to cover whatever topics will be of most value to you. Thank you so much, and make it a great day wherever you are.